Hello, my name is Susan Ashley and I'd like to talk to you today on the subject of why bother going to a healer. I was having coffee with a friend the other day and I mentioned that I go to someone every week, and they were a little bit surprised given that I've been working as a therapist, then a healer and a spiritual consultant for almost 35 years. They thought it was a bit that I would know everything and I'd be able to heal myself and look after myself, which is reasonable. I can cleanse myself very well, and there are certain techniques I can do on myself which are wonderful. However, I talk a lot during the day, and part of the healing is actually talking through what's going on with you, talking through what is stuck in your body, what's stuck in your mind, what's stuck in your emotional landscape. And that requires me to talk, and to think. The actual healing part of it doesn't require much energy of me at all, other than surrender. And I've noticed that when I do surrender, when I remove myself and allow spirit to work through me, the healing is very, very deep. Now, in order for me to do that, I need to know how to surrender. So me going to someone every week is a way of surrendering myself, reminding myself to surrender, that I don't know everything and I can't do everything. And it's also a beautiful way for me to receive each week, because I'm giving a lot and I need to receive. So some weeks I'll go for a massage, other weeks I'll go for a sound healing, sometimes I'll work on something deeper, like an emotional block that's come up for me. So it just depends how I'm feeling that week, what it is that I receive, and sometimes I might go to 2 different people in a week. So I don't restrict myself at all. And I've found that me allowing myself to receive every week makes me feel really good. It gives me the energy to keep going and have the empowerment, and the desire to continue helping others. If I didn't do that, I'd feel drained, I'd feel like crap, and then, people would knock on the door and say, oh my God, I've got to help someone. I'm always happy to see people, and I'm always really happy to delve into what's going on with them. So I believe that's because I receive. Now, other reason you would go for a healer is healers actually anchor energy for you, and they don't allow you to get away with rubbish, because sometimes we can put things in our mind and we justify that they've left, but they haven't actually left. So a healer can check your energy to see if it has left. For instance, I was a single mother and I really remember those days so clearly. I'm very grateful. I have a very good husband now that really takes care for me and my son, but for many years I didn't, and it was very difficult to have that work and home balance, the financial stress that it gave me, also the stress of actually educating a child away from school, educating them in a way that has morals and kindness and integrity. It's not easy in this day and age, and it wasn't easy when I was a single mother either. So, and as a single mum, you come up against a lot of different opinions from others, let's say. So that's my weak spot. When I meet a single mother, I'll often meet her in that pain, and that can keep anchoring me in that pain. And I did that for many, many years. I would meet people in their pain, and that kept me in my pain. But sometimes we like to hold on to it because it's the way we connect. We identify connection with pain, right? It's very interesting, isn't it? So for me, continuing to go to someone and getting the support that I needed through those years helped me to be able to bring in an amazing man into my life, and also to accept that man's support and help, because a lot of women don't. Now, a healer acts as an anchor for the energy, so, which I said before, which stops you from going around and round and round and pretending that it's gone, or being in denial. A lot of people are in denial around their stuff. Oh, that's the reason I do that. It's okay. I understand. Well, if you want your life to change, you need to invest in yourself. And going to a healer has many, many good results. Not just working on what you're working on, but it also shows you're worthy of receiving. It starts to register in yourself that you're actively doing something to change your life. You're open to receiving. You're allowing yourself to be vulnerable. What happens with women when they become vulnerable? They receive more. They open more. So I say to you, don't be afraid to go get a healing. Really look at finding a couple of different sources you can go to. And look, you could go to a yoga class. You could consider that your healing. There's any number of things you can do. So you don't have to necessarily go to the same person every week. You can shop around if you like. Yeah? Invest in yourself. Move through what's blocking you. Allow yourself to be anchored with the gifts of someone else. And start creating the life that you want. That's why you would bother going to a healer. I wanted to talk to you today about what it means to me to be a healer. For me personally, I feel that I am a conduit of God's will in some way. A long time ago, I surrendered my will to God, and that has taken me on a journey I can't even begin to tell you about. Maybe one day I will. But for some people, being a healer is to be in your mind and to go through certain protocol. And the protocol is step 1, step 2, step 3, and voila, something should happen. However, for me, it's all about surrender and letting go and letting God. So just before I work with someone, the beginning of my day, I ask to be a vehicle for love, light, and truth. And I ask to be a vehicle for clear and accurate information and healing this day for that particular person. Now, I'll also call in their guides and their loved ones and the beings that work with them. And I'll ask to be a conduit. I'll give permission, basically, to be a conduit for that individual to assist with whatever they need. And so we'll have a conversation, and they will tell me what it is that they'd like to work on in their life, whether it's a relationship, a job, financial. It really can be anything, even wanting a new car. I've had people wanting a home, wanting to sell their home, or having problems in their home. So it can be anything across the board. And also I might get people who have certain diseases or illnesses where they've tried all the physical things and now I'm their last resort. I'm always the last resort that people come to. And that's okay too, because it's good that they've tried everything else. And then they finally come to me and we look at what's going on. Sometimes it's spiritual, sometimes it's a past life or something that's connected to them. Sometimes it's ancestral, which is energetic. Sometimes it's emotional, an old trauma that they themselves have had. And sometimes it's a mental belief system. So it all depends. And as a healer, I pride myself on continually learning and training on new things, new methods. I'm always looking at new things. I'm always going studying. I'm always reading, participating in other workshops. And like I said to you a few videos before, I also go to other healers. So I'm not out of the loop. I know what's going on. And I know what techniques work for me. And also if I see someone and I feel that I'm not able to help them, and I know someone who uses a particular technique that I feel would help them, I pass them forward. I never think, oh, well, if I let them go, then they're not going to come back to me. I'm losing a client. I'm losing money. I don't look at money. Because when you're a healer and you're truly surrendered to God, money doesn't come into the equation. When you start calculating, oh, if I have 3 clients, I can pay this, and if I have 4, I can do this, and I need 10 so that I can go and do that. It doesn't work when you've surrendered. It really doesn't. When I start thinking about how much I'm going to earn, everything stops. Because the reason people are attracted to me is because my field is giving out compassion. It's giving out love, non-judgmental. Yeah, I'm very I'm not at all judgmental. So I'm giving out a vibration that people are drawn to. And if my vibration is filled with greed and anxiety about money, people won't be attracted to me because that's not in alignment with the God force. So for me, being a healer means being in alignment with myself and God. And some call God universe, some call it the light. I really don't care what you call it. I call it God because that's the way I feel is right for me. So I have a little chat to God in the mornings and I ask to be a vehicle of his love. I dedicate my energy to a vibration that I'm choosing that day. And for me personally, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't eat certain things so that I can be in good vibration for you. It's not about me, it's about you. I am a conduit, and God and the beings that work with me cannot work through me if I'm in compromise in any way, in compromise physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. So to be a healer and to call yourself a healer requires quite a journey. And I'm very proud to be a healer. And as I said, I don't look at this as a financial thing. Yes, it has brought me a lifestyle and it has brought me the ability to travel around the world and live in different places. But I'm not going first class or business class or anything like that. But I love it. I love what I do. I'm in alignment with God. I'm in alignment with the person who's sitting in front of me, and I feel good at the end of the day when I look back and I say, I could see that movement in that person. I saw the light bulb go on. Or I can see the change that's already starting to happen in this person. That's what I love. That's what motivates me. And when I feel that force working through me and the tingles that go through my body and sometimes the warmth that goes through my body, I know I'm in the right place at the right time. So if you're choosing to dedicate your life to being a healer, then dedicate your life to being a healer, not to being a marketer, not to being a salesperson, and not to making millions. You're here of service, and that doesn't mean your service is for free, and it doesn't mean people are entitled to drain you and ring you at any time, but you are here in service to the planet and to the beautiful souls that have been vulnerable enough to sit in front of you and allow you to work with their psyche. That's a privilege and an honour that someone allows the most delicate, vulnerable part of themselves to open up in front of you. And that's what makes you a healer. I wanted to take the opportunity to talk to you about giving and receiving versus taking and control. A lot of people I've noticed, I work every day with individuals and I see this, it's as if they don't understand what giving and receiving is. They think it's control and taking. And when you're in that vibration of giving because you want to control someone, because you're expecting something back from someone, you always get disappointed. And when you take from someone instead of receiving, when you start saying, well, I deserve that, so I just took it. Oh, they have more than me, so it's okay. That's actually taking from someone who's taken the energy and the effort to create what they wanted. And taking from someone is not receiving, actually. It's just taking. It's very shallow, and it actually doesn't fill you up. And when you look at control and taking, there's a karmic element to that. When someone actually offers to give you something and you accept the receiving of that, there's no karma involved. When you give to someone freely of your heart because you love them and you just want to make their life a little bit easier, or you just get this feeling that you know, whatever it is that you have belongs with them, whether it's a book or a crystal or could even be a car. Doesn't really matter what it is. But when you give from your heart, because you want to make someone's life easier. There's no karma for them and there's no karma for you. But if you are giving to control and manipulate someone, there's karma. And I have actually met a lot of people who give with a calculation. Oh, if I give this, then they'll be beholden to me. And when I need to ask them for what it is I'm really thinking I want from them, they'll give it to me because I've already overgiven to them. You see? But they haven't given, they've controlled. There's a very big difference. So before you give, think about your motivation. Think about whether you really want to give it. You know, my father, he was quite wise in some ways, and he said to me a long time ago, he said, Susan, never lend someone money unless you can afford to let it go. Because a lot of the time when people ask you for money, they can't really afford to pay it back, or they're not able to pay it back. So if you give something, give it freely. Don't expect it back. Don't expect anything back from them. And that was a very profound thing that my father taught me. So I actually, before I give something, I question my motivation, and I question whether I feel I can give it at that moment. Like if someone's talking to me and they're telling me about the difficult time they're having, I'll stop for a moment in my own mind and quieten it and think, okay, what can I give that is not going to make me feel like I'm overgiving, or feel that I've been manipulated, or feel drained? You know, do I really want to give? And that's another thing. If we're giving because we feel guilty, we're giving with a toxic energy. So that person actually is receiving toxicity. And that's not a good idea either, is it? You want someone who's receiving something from you to feel good about it, not feel an attachment that they have to then run out and get something better for you. Yeah? And it's the same with receiving. When we receive and we feel bad about it, we feel guilty about it, we feel shame around it, like, oh, I couldn't create it for myself, and so poor me, somebody else had to do it for me. And you're not receiving in the heart of which it's given. That can also mess you up. So I'd really like you to think about, you know, how you receive. You're not actually, if you're receiving because you've calculated it and you're taking it, like I said, there's karma involved in that. But if every time you're receiving, you feel guilty, you feel shame, you feel uncomfortable, look at how you were nurtured as a child, and look at how when you're nurtured, it means how you were fed, how you were handled, how you were touched, how you were listened to, how you were received. And if you were given situations where you felt uncomfortable, like, say for instance, your parents always wanted you to kiss the uncle that stank of cigarette smoke and alcohol, and you hated it, but you had to do it. So you had to receive a kiss and a cuddle from someone you didn't like, and it made you feel really uncomfortable. Or maybe there's a particular food that your parents made you eat that made you feel very uncomfortable about being nurtured and receiving. So just have a look at that and see if you need to do any work on that. Yeah? So sit with yourself, ask yourself, am I giving with an open heart and with love, or am I giving to prove myself or to control that person? Am I receiving with an open heart, or am I receiving with guilt and shame? I'm going to leave that with you, and if you'd like to do some work on that, you can go to my website, lovelightandtruth.com, and book an appointment with me, or you can contact me in other ways. I'm really looking forward to hearing from you and working with you in a loving and kind manner. And I'm wishing you all a beautiful balance of giving and receiving, love and harmony.